Hey everyone, welcome to Primary Market Chatter. This is our January second week IPOs edition brought to you by Sunday Investing. So as you all know, what we do is कि हम हर week जो अगले हफ्ते के IPOs आ रहे होते हैं उनके बारे में बात करते हैं and उसमें अपना fundamental views बताते हैं. While the secondary market is not doing it well at all, it's been crashing today. Was a very bad day for a lot of people, but it's all part of the game. So we're not going anywhere. In fact, like we will continue. And हमने कल space नहीं किया था जिसमें हम companies का review करने वाले थे because आज कोई company नहीं थी तो we were slightly lazy and the winter season has made us slightly lazy. So sorry about that. But yeah, with that, maybe we can get started on today's episode. Yash आज join नहीं कर पाएगा, so it will just be the three of us who will be talking about the companies. Just want to highlight before we get started, and this is a regular disclaimer on the show, but we are not SEBI registered research analysts, so कोई भी हमारा जो व्यू है that cannot be taken as a qualified opinion. आप अपना रिव्यू खुद करें, do your own due diligence. This is especially important in a market like right now where it hasn't been going up and the way that a lot of people would have predicted. So having said that, definitely do your own due diligence and do not take it as a qualified opinion. This can only be used as a substitute. This cannot be used as a substitute, but only as a complement. Think of it like three friends talking about what they are planning to do with their own IPO applications, nothing more than that. Having said that, the second thing which I want to talk about is कि अगर आपने YouTube channel नहीं join किया है तो आप YouTube पे जाके ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं हमारा चैनल. वहां पे हम ये स्पेसेस डाल देते हैं और उनको अपने लेवल पे लाइक आप अपने लेजर के हिसाब से उन आईपीओस को सिर्फ उन स्पेसिफिक आईपीओस को भी सुन सकते हैं. अगर किसी को कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं तो आप क्वेश्चंस चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हो. विल बी मोर देन हैप्पी टू टेक एनी क्वेश्चंस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द कंपनीज दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. अब एक बार ऑर्डर सेट कर देता हूँ. सो विल प्रोबेबली स्टार्ट विद केके ज्वेल. चार एसएमई कवर करेंगे फटाफट. केके ज्वेल, उसके बाद सतकर्तार शॉपिंग, उसके बाद बारफ्लेक्स पॉलीफिल्म्स, उसके बाद रिकव सिक्योरिटीज एंड उसके बाद मेन बोर्ड करेंगे लक्ष्मी डेंटल. ऑल ऑफ देम प्राइमा फेसिया आर गुड कंपनीज. लाइक आई वुड प्रोबेबली अप्लाई इन अ लॉट ऑफ देम and it seems that a lot of them are interesting as well. It's just that very sad or good news that they are coming in at a time where the secondary market is not doing the best. तो इसलिए प्रेशर रह सकता है कुछ कंपनीज में, तो उनके बारे में बात करेंगे. बट एटलीस्ट एट अ प्राइमा फेसिया लेवल अ लॉट ऑफ देम सीम लाइक अ अप्लाई. But with that, maybe Tanmay, Rohit, do you guys have anything, or we can get started with KK Jewel?
Let's start.
Okay. So Kabra Jewels is engaged in retail jewelry business. It designs, manufactures and sells a wide range of gold studded and other jewelry products and operates 6 showrooms in Ahmedabad. In terms of just setting up the IPO, it's a 40 CR IPO, all of which is a fresh issue, and companies coming at a market cap of 134 CR. In terms of FY24 financials, the company did 164 CR market cap and a 9.4 CR bottom line profit after tax. So coming at like 14 PE FY24. In terms of the LM is Marwadi Chandrana Intermediaries. तो अब इस कंपनी की फटाफट बात करते हैं. जैसा मैंने बताया, काबरा ज्वेल्स जो कंपनी है वो रिटेल ज्वेलरी बिजनेस में गोल्ड, डायमंड, सिल्वर ऑर्नामेंट्स वगैरह ये प्रोवाइड करते हैं. और इनके 5 मेजर शोरूम्स हैं जो कि अहमदाबाद में, और वहां से ये ऑपरेट करते हैं. इनके अलग अलग ब्रांड्स हैं, सबका कॉमन थीम है केके ज्वेल्स. फिर उसके आगे उनने जो स्पेसिफिक जिस चीज का शोरूम है वो लगा रखा है, जैसे केके ज्वेल्स गोल्ड, केके ज्वेल्स अतारशी, केके ज्वेल्स सिल्वर, केके ज्वेल्स ब्राइडल, केके ज्वेल्स डायमंड एक्सेट्रा ऐसे करके. और अगेन लाइक थिंक ऑफ इट एज एनी रिटेल गोल्ड शॉप. 2010 में खोली थी. they had 6 showrooms, out of which they have closed the one in Gandhiram, and they still have 5 showrooms which they have open right now, and they have like 121 employees working for them. So prima facie the company is doing very well. The promoter is Kailash Kabra, who is 39 years old and has been running the business since 2010. So it's a old business. The company has been doing well, growing revenues, etc. So if I talk about the revenues of the company did like 164 CR in FY24. FY23 में उन्होंने 122 CR किया. The company did 112 CR in FY22. 122 CR in FY23 and 164 CR in FY24. So growing revenue year over year, and the company has been growing its business. जैसे अगर मैं बात करूं तो मोस्टली बिजनेस जो आता है वो जो बिजनेस आता है वो मोस्टली जो है इनके केके ज्वेल्स ब्राइडल एंड डायमंड करके एक शॉप है, जो बेसिकली 2010 तक नहीं एक शॉप थी। उसके बाद इन्हें 2020 में 2 और शॉप खोली और 2022 में 3 और शॉप खोली। तो 2010 तक वाली जो शॉप है मेन केके ज्वेल्स ब्राइडल एंड डायमंड, उसमें से 91 CR रेवेन्यू आ रहा है आउट ऑफ 164। और जो दूसरी शॉप है केके ज्वेल्स गोल्ड, उसमें वो जो उन्होंने 2020 में खोली उसमें से 35 करोड़ रेवेन्यू आ रहा है। तीसरी उसी के साथ जो उन्होंने खोली थी वो थी केके ज्वेल्स सिल्वर, उससे 20 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू आ रहा है। सो ऑल थ्री ऑफ देम आर सेट। 2022 में जो उन्होंने खोली थी वो अभी भी सेट हो रही है, पर से तराशी, सिल्वर स्टूडियो एंड गांधीधाम रेवेन्यू नहीं कर पा रही थी, इसलिए उसको उन्होंने बंद कर दिया। बट कंपनी की एक बहुत बड़ी मेजर ड्रॉबैक है कि इसके पे बहुत ज्यादा इन्वेंट्री है कंपनी पे गोल्ड, क्योंकि अब ये क्या शॉप्स खोल गए थे तो उसके चक्कर में इनको नई इन्वेंट्री भी लेनी पड़ेगी। सो देयर बैलेंस शीट इज लाइक दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ डेथ ऑन देयर बैलेंस शीट। काफी ज्यादा इन्हें लोन्स ले रखे हैं जिसको इनको चुकाना है, और इनकी जो इन्वेंट्री है ना वो भी काफी धीरे घूमती है। लाइक अगर इनका FY24 में देखोगे तो इन्वेंट्री डेज इज 256। बेसिकली ये एक इन्वेंट्री को 1.5 बार ही घुमा पाते हैं, तो इसलिए वर्किंग कैपिटल भी बहुत ज्यादा चाहिए, क्योंकि बिग माल धीरे रहा है पर से। सो इसलिए आप देखोगे इनकी इन्वेंट्री भी जमा हो रही है। FY22 में 52 CR की इन्वेंट्री थी इन पे, जो कि FY23 में 92 CR हो गई। FY24 में 115 करोड़ की इन पे इन्वेंट्री है। दिस इज लाइक गोल्ड में मेरे को ऐसा लगता है इन्वेंट्री पे इतना ज्यादा नहीं देखना चाहिए, बिकॉज यू कैन ऑलवेज लिक्विडिफाई द इन्वेंट्री एंड उसको तुम नया डिजाइन बना के वापस से बेच सकते हो। तो इसलिए इतना ज्यादा इशू नहीं आता, मतलब उसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि वो स्क्रैप हो जाएगी अगर इन्वेंट्री की डिजाइन चली गई तो। प्लस उसके अलावा क्या है, गोल्ड इन इटसेल्फ इज लाइक द प्राइस ऑफ द इन्वेंट्री इज इंक्रीजिंग, सो दैट एक्ट्स एज अ हेज। सो इसलिए वो इतना नहीं देखना चाहिए बस से। उसके अलावा अगर मैं बात करूं, कंपनी के पास एक प्रॉपर्टी भी है जो उनका एग्जीबिशन सेंटर है। सो कंपनी पे एक प्रॉपर्टी भी है जो उनका एग्जीबिशन सेंटर है, जो कि 5.35 CR का उन्होंने लिया है। लोगो सब रजिस्टर्ड है। इनकी जो इन्वेंट्री है मोस्टली इट्स इन गोल्ड ज्वेलरी एंड सिल्वर ज्वेलरी ओनली। सो दैट वे इट सीम्स लाइक अ गुड कंपनी। अगर मैं कंपनी का पीई बात करूं जिसपे ये आ रही है, सो बाय द वे जैसा मैंने बताया कि कंपनी पे लोन बहुत ज्यादा है। सो द कंपनी हैज 77 CR लॉन्ग टर्म लोन एंड 26 CR शॉर्ट टर्म लोन। सो कंपनी पे लाइक अराउंड 110 CR का लोन पड़ा हुआ है, विच इज अ बिग अमाउंट पर से। मतलब इनकी जो 170 करोड़ की बैलेंस शीट थी 170 CR की, उसमें 110 CR तो लोन है बैलेंस शीट पे। सो दैट्स वन, उसका उनको इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट पे करना पड़ता है अराउंड 8 CR 9 CR एवरी ईयर। तो ये IPO ला रहे हैं 40 CR का, जिसमें से अराउंड 22 CR आई थिंक इज फॉर वर्किंग कैपिटल एंड 10 CR इज फॉर पेइंग द लोन्स। तो 10 CR से भी बहुत ज्यादा कुछ होगा नहीं, क्योंकि कंपनी के पास बहुत ज्यादा लोन ऑलरेडी है। बट अगर मैं कंपनी के फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो द कंपनी इज कमिंग एट वेरी डिसेंट वैल्यूएशन। जैसा मैंने बताया कि कंपनी की जो वैल्यूएशन है वो कंपनी FY25 पे 14 के PE पे आ रही है। और अगर मैं एनुअलाइज कर दूं FY25 का फिगर, विच आई डोंट थिंक शुड बी वेरी ऑफ, तो उस हिसाब से ऑल्दो जैन फेब शुड बी इज स्लाइटली लाइटर पीरियड इन ज्वेलरी, तो इसलिए 12-12.5 करोड़ का इनको रेवेन्यू करना चाहिए FY25 में। सो उस हिसाब से द कंपनी इज कमिंग एट लाइक 11 PE, विच इज ऑल्सो प्रिटी डिसेंट। सो आई फील दे हैव लेफ्ट स्कोप ऑन द टेबल। द LM इज प्रिटी न्यू, मारवाड़ी चंद्राना, इससे पहले इनका एक ही इशू आया था, आइडेंटिकल ग्रेन्स। सो दे आर स्टिल फॉर्मिंग अ प्लेस इन द मार्केट। इन टर्म्स ऑफ जो इनने अपने कंपैरेबल दिखाए हैं, तो इनने कंपैरेबल दिखाए हैं जो वो सब दिखाए हैं जो कि आई फील प्रोबेबली कंपैरेबल्स नहीं है। DP आभूषण, RBZ, मोतीसन ज्वेलर्स, ये सब दिखाए हैं। ये सब 68 PE, 40 PE, 30 PE ऐसे हैं। बट आई फील इनका, क्योंकि ये फास्ट ग्रोइंग कंपनीज हैं बहुत ज्यादा और थोड़ा ब्रांड प्ले है, लाइक DB आभूषण इज अ ब्रांडेड कंपनी अक्रॉस मध्य प्रदेश। सिमिलरली मोतीसंस का जयपुर में नाम है, प्लस दे हैव द प्रमोटर्स आर इन्वॉल्व इन ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ डिफरेंट थिंग्स व्हिच आई विल नॉट वांट टू गो इनटू। सो आई थिंक अ बेटर peer फॉर दिस वुड बी लाइक अ मनोज वैभव ज्वेलरी एंड जेम्स जो आई थी, जो कि एक स्टैंड अलोन गोल्ड रिटेल शॉप है। So Manoj Vaibhav is coming at is at like 15p, 16p, something like that. तो उस हिसाब से भी अगर आप देखोगे तो 11p पे ही आ रही है. तो मेरे को लगता है 40-50% का कंपनी ने स्कोप छोड़ा है गिरी से गिरी हालत में भी. Although Manoj Vaibhav has been growing at like 15%, I'm hoping this grows a lot more faster. So because of which you would want to give it a slight more premium. So 40-50% का scope है and it should be applied is what my review is. With that I would close Kabra Jewels. Anchor list अभी आई नहीं है, so would be interesting to look at who all are the anchors. But yeah, anything that Rohit, Tanmay, you guys have to add on Kabra Jewels, or if there are any questions in the chat.
No, not
studied it.
Sir, nothing major to add, but it's quite rare to see a good, well-established jewelry retailer coming at this kind of valuations in the SME space. SMEs में ज़्यादा jewelry retailers नहीं है, 2-3 आए थे, but all of them have done pretty good. One of them was Khazanchi Jewelers, which has done extremely well. So I feel कि I saw the promoter and their brand मतलब regional level पे अच्छा मतलब नाम है इनका, and I feel it should do good.
Yeah, similar story for me also. Although I would just caution, like it should probably not get a P, a very high P, like a branded play, let's say a P.N. Gadgil or a Kalyan Jewel or something like that. So it should probably be like looked at as a standalone jewelry chain. जैसा मैंने बताया कि 2020 में ही इनकी दूसरी शॉप खुली है. 2010 से तो एक ही शॉप थी बस है. So think of it that way only is how I would kind of pitch it. With that, we'll move forward to the second company. The second company we'll talk about is Satkartar Shopping. The company is a Ayurveda healthcare company focused on delivering natural wellness products for therapeutic and lifestyle products. It is also diversified its portfolio to products related to health issues like slimming, gut health, PCOD, all kinds of Ayurveda, which you can think of is what this company does. It's coming with an IPO of 34 crores, all of which is a fresh issue. Market cap is 128 crores. So it's diluting like 26-28%. In terms of the FY24 financials, the company did a 128 crore revenue and a PAT of 6.3 crores. So it's coming at like 21 PE FY24, something like that. In terms of the LM is Nanolia Financial Services. So with that, Rohit, over do you want to go ahead and talk about Satkartar?
Sure, Manish. So as Manish mentioned, this is a 33 crore raise. So Satkartar is an Ayurvedic product seller. So they make proprietary formulations for certain specific categories. All of these products are Ayush Ministry certified. So that's one good thing. It's sort of needed if you want to be an official sort of Ayurvedic product seller. Here, the IP of these products are actually owned by Satkartar. So they decide the formulations. They have their team that makes the formulations, and then this contract manufactured to third parties. They focus on a few categories. The biggest one is, interestingly, sexual wellness. About 40% of their revenue just comes from 2 products in this category. They also have 20% from addiction, which is like a smoking addiction killer product. Then they do a little bit of diabetes, joint pain. They've had some other products that they've removed. They're also launching a weight loss product or a slimming product. The interesting thing is these guys actually operate at a 90% gross margin, which is crazy, which means that the products that they actually sell are really, really cheap to manufacture. Maybe you can say there's some IP, depends on how much you believe Ayurveda and Ayurvedic science, but they use the, whatever Ayurvedic texts to actually make these products. So the products are very, very cheap to make, which means that at the end of the day, this is just a marketing play. You can sell this for fairly high prices, and you have high margin, but you will also have very high cost of marketing. So if you see today, they do their acquisition from 2 primary sources. One is via TV ads. So they have, this sort of TV shopping networks that you have, in several regional channels, as well as they do Google ads. So they are there on several different of these networks. So people will call that sort of helpline number. You'll have these video ads, that will play on TV. People will call that number, and they have about 600 plus customer support people across languages, because they do this in Tamil and Telugu in different TV channels, or shopping TV channels. And then you will have appropriate sort of support agents who will sell and cross-sell products to you. Very high ticket size, almost 2,500 rupees is their ticket size. They follow a similar sort of model for Google ads also. So unlike a typical, what you might expect if someone searches on Google for, say, I want to quit smoking, or I want an addiction, smoking addiction, something to stop my smoking addiction. they'll follow this sort of landing page approach where it will take you to addictionkiller.com. So it doesn't really take them to their own e-commerce website, which is Satkartar, but it takes you to this addictionkiller.com where again you put in your phone number and then again someone will call and convert you. So it's a very, in that sense, a slightly manual thing. It's not really e-commerce in that sense. It's more of a telesales kind of model to convert people. Their e-commerce business is very small. It's only about 10% of the business, where 30% comes from TV and another 60% comes from all these ads that ultimately still converts over phone. One thing is they've kind of, I would say, cracked marketing. They spend about 40% of their revenue on marketing. So it's a large spend, but they've clearly cracked it and they're able to sort of grow and scale their business, which I'll come to when I talk about their numbers. One kind of disappointing thing is their repeat rate is quite low. It's around 20% of their business is repeat. For a product like this, ideally you would want repeats to be very high. Otherwise you're going to keep on spending. I mean, at some point, all of these marketing channels run out of steam. You cannot, like, what is 40% today? At some point it'll become 50, it'll become 60 as you start exhausting the low hanging fruit. And if their repeat rate is in this 20% range, it's going to be difficult for them to scale beyond a point, in my view. They sell their products pan-India across almost all the states, like pretty much in all states, and they've like fairly diversified, so there's no real risk there. The numbers are excellent. They've grown from about 50 crore 3 years ago to about 120 to 127 crore in revenue last year, which in an interview they said that they have crossed that number or they've reached that number in 9 months. In RHP, they've given 8.5 months of data, but in an interview he said he's already crossed that 127 crore mark in the first 9 months, and it's still December. And there's also there's a point in a slide where they say that they're expecting to do 168 crore this year. So the numbers are there. They should do probably close to 9 crore PAT this year if you maintain the margins. They've also mentioned that they're going to capitalize some of their operating expenses, which today, like some of the rentals and laptop rentals and stuff, they're going to actually convert that. They're going to capitalize it, which will improve their P&L further. So I think there's definitely upside on a PAT level. They also seem to want to grow fairly aggressively. They want to grow at 35% year on year consistently, and they've kind of proven that in the last 3-4 years. Cash flows are also pretty decent. So overall, the segment Ayurveda is actually a very interesting segment. I've seen a lot of startups in India raise funding in the last 3-4 years in the segment, especially post-COVID, as people were looking for new ways to combat the sort of health issues that have become more prominent in front of people's minds. Ayurveda as a segment also grew quite a bit post-COVID. Quite a few startups have been funded. There have been some very interesting startups, taking products from India and selling it abroad. That is something Satkartar does not want to do. They want to focus on India at least now for some time. But fine, they've figured out a niche and they've figured out some interesting products, and they have actually built a nice, fairly, good business, interesting business. And there are a couple of other Ayurvedic companies in India, probably the most in the public market space. The most well-known is the Jina Seco, which is this Ayurvedic hospital chain, which has done extremely well. So overall, this is a fairly unique business. There's nothing like it in the listed market. The segment has done well in the listed space. So I feel this company will actually do pretty well. It's coming at around roughly 17 times trailing if you sort of average what they've done last year and this year for the 8.5 months. It's about 14x on FY25 numbers on a somewhat conservative basis. I think it's fairly unique for fairly good for a unique business with a very unique kind of model. So personally, I do see decent upside, probably 40-50% upside looks like it would be there. I personally will be applying. I think the anchors are also pretty decent. You have Beeline's, AIF, even though they're not normally you'll see Beeline only when they are the lead manager, but for a change they're here. And a couple of other decentish anchors, not the usual anchors who will just dump. So overall looks like an interesting company, interesting play. Whether to chase this on listing will depend, I think, on the screen. But I think for applying, at least I feel at 14 times FY25, there's quite a lot left on the table. So there is factor of safety even in a weak market. So I personally do intend to apply for this issue.
Got it. Thanks. Thanks so much. पहला तो question Rohit, request ये है कि if you could be slightly slower when you are saying things, that would be helpful. Second thing, how do you look at it in terms of peers? One peer, when you were speaking about the company, again, I'm also listening to the company for the first time, haven't done much research, but this seems like a pure play, COGS, very low cost of goods and very high marketing. So keep doing the same thing again and again. But a peer would probably be like a Vaidya Sane, right? A Vaidya Sane had came in to get listed, Vaidya Sane Ayurved. Would it be a right peer? And I know that went down really high. Did you study their business model? Is it separate? Is it the same?
I don't. I personally have not studied Vaidya Sane. I think they were also a clinic chain, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how much of their business comes from sale of products, but they were
No,
a
okay, you're right. You're right. It's a clinic chain. It's a chain of cardiac care hospital clinics and hospitals that own 350 clinics. So it's a very
correct.
different
Yeah,
sort
slightly different model.
of place.
And I think
Yeah.
there ultimately, see the revenues, the numbers kind of speak. Like if you look at their business, it hasn't grown, or it is fairly stagnant. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. Honestly, I could not find any even somewhat direct peer. Only thing to say is this is in this Ayurvedic space, which has actually done pretty well at a fundamental level. There's been good interest from investors. Like I said, in the startup ecosystem, which is a parallel ecosystem to what we look at, which is the listed space. When the startup ecosystem, there have been a bunch of companies that have raised some amount early stage, Series A, Series B kind of funding in this Ayurvedic space. So clearly there is a set of smart investors who have latched on to this trend as where there is some underlying tailwind post-COVID. We've seen that with Gina Seco as well, with Ayurveda as like sort of pure play Ayurvedic hospital chains doing extremely well. I mean, their numbers are just top numbers. So I think the tailwinds are there. These guys should, I mean, their model is very different from any other that I have seen. I do find a risk in this model if I look at this business in a slightly longer term. Like I said, for me, the biggest risk is the marketing risk. 40% is marketing. Marketing heavy companies need to have something that shows that they're able to retain customers so that their marketing costs go down over time and not go up over time. Because fundamentally, they will tap out of the low hanging fruit, which today is keeping their marketing at 40%. As they keep going, okay, they've got say 100,000, they're getting 100,000 customers a year from Google. To get from 100 to 150,000, those incremental customers will cost more than the first 100,000. So this business will start spending more and more on marketing over time. It's a standard problem, like all companies that sell on the internet face this problem. And if you are not able to absorb that by just having very high repeat rates, it's hard to scale beyond a point. So for me, that is the number one risk. So I like this company in the short term. I'm not 100% sure they'll be able to deliver and maintain these kind of margins in the long term, or they have to prove something in their marketing, that they're able to maintain their cost of marketing or bring it down over time. But yeah, I feel that in the short term, it's a very unique business, unique play, and can do well for a few months. That's my view.
I'm assuming that my next question, and I'm assuming a lot of people will have this question, but I don't think there's a right answer. Is what PE do you give it, right? So I'm assuming since it's a new play, so you'll just have to wait and see how the market kind of rates it, right?
Yeah, and honestly, like the P that different sectors are getting 1 week back, and what they're getting today after today's fall itself is so different. Solar sector a few days back was at 60p, now it's at 40p. So it's very hard to say. There's no point in trying to guess it. I think it's just that there is factor of safety, and then you look a little bit at the screen, you see who are the bulk deals, you look at how the momentum
It's at
is.
16p, right? The IPO price is at
Yeah,
it's priced
17.
at
I would say
16.
17 trailing, 14 for FY25.
Got it. Okay, which seems good enough to me at least
Yeah.
when I think about applying. Yeah. With that, maybe we can end. Satkartar, Tanmay, do you have anything to add, or we can probably very quickly move forward to the next company?
No, I haven't really read much on this company, but prima facie seems a okayish kind of issue. At least on listing and on the listing, I feel it should give a decent pop.
Got it. With that, maybe we will move forward and talk about the next company. Before that, if someone's joined us for the first time, YouTube channel is pinned in the pinned comments. आप उसको भी follow करके you can listen to these IPOs at your own leisure. I also post them later in the day, the spaces. Having said that, we can move forward to the third company, which is Barflex Polyfilms, and this is a company which I've been studying since morning. So the company manufactures flexible packaging material, coax films, laminates, labels, ideal for FMCG, processed foods, and has 3 manufacturing units in Bhati, Himachal Pradesh. The company is coming up with an IPO of 40 CR, out of which just 12.3 CR is fresh. So 27 CR is a OFS जो कि promoter exit ले रहे हैं, 27 CR. At a market, the company is coming at a market cap of 148 crores. So just 12 crores is going into the company, while the rest is a OFS, and the company is coming at like 150 crores market cap. In terms of the FY24 financials, the revenue is 116 crores and the PAT is 16 crores. So 116 करोड़ करके कंपनी ने 16 crores revenue PAT कमाया है, and it's coming at like 12-13 FY24 PE, so pretty cheap. In terms of LM, the LM is Elements Financial, first issue ever for Elements Financial. With that, let's just quickly discuss Barflex Polyfilms. So not a lot to discuss. The company is a flexible packaging material manufacturer. So basically क्या है, coax films बनाती है. Coax मतलब co-extruded films. So क्या होती है, multi-layer plastic films होती हैं, which are made by combining 2 or more resins and are used in like food packaging, industrial use, B2B, B2C packaging, all of those things of the world, because they are moisture resistant. So basically आपने वो तेल वगैरह लिया हुआ जो पन्नी में आता है, like, so those polythene bags are are called coax bags, and the company at a very high level manufactures this. और उसके जो clients हैं वो भी वही हैं, like 40% is your edibles, processed foods वगैरह, and 40% is FMCG, and then there are a few clients in pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, constructions, etc. In terms of like जैसा मैं बात करूं, so 3 layer, 5 layer polyfilm, laminate, vacuum pouches, in short सब वही है, like packaging वाली जो चीजें होती है ना, जो FMCG उसमें चाहिए होती है, उसी को उनने अलग अलग तरीके से बताया है. और उनकी बादी हिमाचल प्रदेश में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट है. 2 यूनिट जो है, यूनिट 1 and 2 वो ओन्ड है, और जो 3 है वो रेंटेड है. प्रमोटर जो है वो जयवन बेरी जी हैं, वो स्लाइटली ओल्डिश, सो दैट्स वन रिस्क ऑन द कंपनी. 64 years old. And if I talk about how the company has been doing, so इनकी जो कैपेसिटी है 2400 यूनिट 1 की इंस्टॉल कैपेसिटी है मेट्रिक टन्स में, जो ऑलमोस्ट फुल कैपेसिटी पे चल रही है, 93% पे. यूनिट 2 इज वर्किंग एट लाइक 77% कैपेसिटी, एंड यूनिट 3 इज वर्किंग एट लाइक 53% कैपेसिटी. सो काफी ज्यादा कैपेसिटी ऑलरेडी यूज्ड है कंपनी की. अब जैसा मैंने बताया, वन मेजर thing to highlight in this company before I go to the financials is, out of the 27 crores which the company is raising, 39 crores which the company is raising, 27 crores is the offer for sale, आई प्रमोटर एग्जिट ले रहे हैं 27 करोड़ में, और वैल्यूएशन भी काफी सस्ती है. आई विल कम टू द वैल्यूएशन पार्ट. एंड 12 करोड़ ही कंपनी में जा रहे हैं. सो कंपनी को अपनी कैपेक्स करना है, अपनी एक प्लांट कैपेसिटी बढ़ानी है. सो अभी ये 3D 5D पाउचेस बनाते हैं, 70 पाउचेस बनाने, which should help with respect to the getting more revenue, but उसके लिए उनको 23 करोड़ चाहिए, जिसमें से 12 करोड़ यहाँ से आएंगे, और बाकी जो 11 करोड़ है वो इंटरनल अक्रूवल्स में से होंगे. सो अगर मैं इंटरनल अक्रूवल्स की बात करूं तो कंपनी की बैलेंस शीट बहुत अच्छी है, लाइक वन ऑफ द फाइनेस्ट बैलेंस शीट्स व्हिच आई हैव सीन इन टर्म्स ऑफ एनी एसएमई कंपनी व्हिच इज कमिंग. लाइक 88 करोड़ की बैलेंस शीट है, आउट ऑफ विच 77 करोड़ तो प्रमोटर नहीं डाले हुए हैं, और कंपनी के पास 47 करोड़ के शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लस कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंट पड़ा है. 27 करोड़ कंपनी पे कैश है, 20 करोड़ शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट है. सो दे ऑलरेडी हैव 47 करोड़ विद देमसेल्व्स. सो बिकॉज ऑफ विच आई एम ओके टू डिस्काउंट द फैक्ट कि प्रमोटर एग्जिट ले रहा है, बिकॉज उनपे चाहिए नहीं पैसा, कंपनी में ऑलरेडी पैसा स्टक है. लाइक द कंपनी हैज ऑलरेडी इनफ मनी विच it couldn't use till now. So I don't think raising a growth round makes more sense, because they have so much on their balance sheet already. और इनकी जो यूनिट्स हैं वो भी ओन्ड है पैसे. तो जैसा अब मैं आता हूँ फाइनेंशियल्स की तरफ, रेवेन्यू की बात करूँ, सो द कंपनी डिड लाइक 93 crores in FY24, which went up to like 109 crores in FY23. and 110 crores in FY24. And right now they have done like 65 crores in in the first 8 months. So, which seems like a slight problem to me. Like this is one part which I didn't like honestly, क्योंकि इनका revenue ना काफी consistent है if you look at it. Like it hasn't grown at the pace at which you would expect it to. And company के पास अगर इतना पैसा पड़ा हुआ था तो उनने अभी तक कैपेक्स करके और अगर वो फुल कैपेसिटी पे चल रही है तो कैपेक्स करके अपना रेवेन्यू बढ़ाने की कोशिश क्यों नहीं की, क्योंकि उनका जो रेवेन्यू है ना वो काफी कंसिस्टेंट है. FY23 में 110 करोड़, FY24 में 116 करोड़. सो इट हैज बीन ग्रोइंग बट इट हैजंट बीन ग्रोइंग एट द पेस एट विच यू वुड एक्सपेक्ट इट टू ग्रो. वहीं अगर मैं बॉटम लाइन की बात करूं तो बॉटम लाइन बहुत तेजी से ग्रो हो रही है. लाइक FY22 they did 8 crores of bottom line. FY23 they did 10 crores of bottom line. FY24 they did 16 crores of bottom line. So their bottom line has been increasing quite drastically versus the top line is also increasing. It's not like it's not increasing, but it isn't increasing at the pace at which you would expect it to increase. But अब जो वो capex कर रहे हैं, maybe that can help, as the capex is for starting a 7-layer film as well post the expansion. So maybe that will help with respect to getting that revenue increase which you would expect from the company. अगर मैं कंपनी के फाइनेंशियल्स की, जैसा मैंने बताया, they did 16 crores in FY24 and in FY25 also, शुरुआती 8 महीनों में they have already done 13.5 crores. So it seems like the company has been generating very good bottom line and is able to convert a lot of it to cash, which is also visible from the whole pointers of how like the company has so much cash on its balance sheet. और अगर मैं कंपनी की बात करूं तो इन टर्म्स ऑफ लाइक 8 months इनने 13.5 CR कर लिया है ऑन अ टोटल रेवेन्यू ऑफ 78 crores, विच सीम्स प्रिटी डिसेंट. उसके अलावा जो मैं इसकी एक चीज बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग मैंने नोटिस करी कि अगर मैं इसकी शेयर होल्डिंग पैटर्न नोटिस करूं, बिफोर दैट मे बी आई कैन क्विकली टॉक अबाउट द पी एट विच इट इज कमिंग, बिकॉज दैट विल ऑल्सो गिव अ फेयर आइडिया. सो अगर मैं इसका FY24 पे देखूं तो इट्स कमिंग एट 9p and FY25 एनुअलाइज करके देखूं तो इट्स कमिंग एट लाइक 7.3p. सो इट्स कमिंग एट लाइक अप्रॉक्स 8p, विच आई फील इज प्रिटी चीप. अगर इसके जो भी आप पीयर्स देखोगे तो इनने उमा कन्वर्टर, पूर्व फ्लेक्सी पैक वगैरह दिखाए हैं पीएस, जो कि आर एट 14 and 38p. एंड एक और कंपनी जो मैं आज देख रहा था विच कुड प्रोबेबली बी अ गुड प्रॉक्सी टू इट इज नहर पॉलीफिल्म्स, विच इज ऑल्सो एट 26p. सो काफी जगह छोड़ी हुई है कंपनी ने कंपैरेटिवली, इवन आफ्टर ब्रिंगिंग द IPO एट द वैल्यूएशन एट विच इट इज ब्रिंगिंग. अब अगर एक दो इंटरेस्टिंग चीजें, सो मैं ये देख रहा था कि प्रमोटर्स जो हैं, सो दे हैड 92% बिफोर IPO एंड आफ्टर IPO दे हैव लाइक 67%. सो जो 92% है उसके अलावा जो रिमेनिंग 8% था वो किन पे था? सो 4% वाज विद ललित दुआ, हु इज द ओनर ऑफ राजस्थान ग्लोबल स्पोक, एंड देन 4% इज विद अर्जुन एंड पूजा जुनेजा, हु आर द promoters ऑफ मैनकाइंड फार्मा फैमिली हाउस. सो प्री IPO उनने कर रखा था. और अगर मैं एंकर बुक की भी बात करूं, सो एंकर बुक वाज आल्सो प्रीटी डिसेंट. राजस्थान ग्लोबल एंड देयर सिस्टर सब्सिडरी LRSD took like 60% of the anchor book. Holani took 17%, Vikasa took 9%, and Abundantia took 9%. So 80% was between Rajasthan Global and Holani. And just that the promoters, Mankind Pharma, Lalit Dua also in pre-IPO got it at like 60 rupees share pre-IPO. So that just made it interesting for me to read. It's at a very cheap valuation. I would definitely be applying for this. There is one big red flag, which is why is the promoter selling his shares at such a low price, but I think it is mispriced per se, so there seems to be a good upside in this issue. With that, maybe Tanmay and Rohit, I would go over to you for your opinion.
Sure, I personally read the company I feel not in complete depth, but मतलब जितना जरूरी था उतना पढ़ा है. I personally feel कि यार मुझे तो बहुत अच्छा लगा बिजनेस की. इसी 30-40 करोड़ का कैश है कंपनी पे, 35-37 करोड़ का शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है, तो 77 करोड़ का कैश है इन पे. रिजर्व ऑफ सरप्लस भी ऑलमोस्ट 75-80 करोड़ है. तो यार मतलब इतने मार्केट कैप पे अगर मुझे इतना सॉलिड बिजनेस मिल रहा है जिसके पास इतना अच्छा खासा कैश पड़ा है, और मतलब if I'm trying to convert the numbers of this year also, 20-25% or even 30% growth is possible, and in this kind of a business, this margins and this growth is actually not at all bad. हमारे दिमाग में होता है कि SME है तो 40-50% ही ग्रोथ होना चाहिए, so it's not necessary. This 20-30% growth is also actually very good, and the shareholding of Mankind Pharma's family house actually boosts the confidence by a significant margin, and they were offered like I guess 6 months or 8 months back at 60 rupees. Even if I check out the post money calculations, the equity will get diluted by the whole WSA will get diluted by roughly 8%. मतलब उन्होंने 55-56 में ली हुई चीज 6-8 महीने पहले अपने को 60 में मिल रही है, which is high single digit PE. So I feel such a clean balance sheet with trade receivables इनका बहुत अच्छा है. इसी की कोई ट्रेड रिसीवेबल का झंझट नहीं इन पे, एकदम सही पेमेंट एकदम अच्छा है, वर्किंग कैपिटल भी अच्छे से मैनेज कर रहे हैं, प्रमोटर भी मुझे अच्छा लगा. तो आई फील एंड इट्स अ फर्स्ट इशू फ्रॉम दी LM Almonds Global and he has picked a good company, so I feel this should do pretty well, and I'm देख के तो कॉन्फिडेंस आ रहा है कि यार ये बिजनेस अच्छा है, एकदम कैश जनरेटिंग बिजनेस है, सही मार्जिन से, सही प्रमोटर है, सही इन्वेस्टर से.
Just
Also,
one thing, Manish, one point I'll just add, which is the thing I think, like I haven't studied this company very deeply, but I was just looking at their numbers right now. One thing is that a lot of their income is other income, and that other income includes, like if you look at this year in the first 8 months, almost 10 crore is profit from sale of investments. So I'm not sure what that is. Is that some land or something that they've sold? If you look at, it's a 10.6 crore. So that actually eats up their entire PAT. If you take out the other income, which looks like one time. Even last year in the 16 crore PAT, 5 crore was profit on sale of investments. So maybe the PE multiple should be viewed net of this, assuming this one time. I need to see if there's any more information exactly what this is. But this year of that 13 crore, 10.6 crore is just profit on sale of investments.
Okay, so I'll check out this and I'll post a note before the IPO closes. Thank you for informing that.
Sure. Manish, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I was saying I had also not studied this. So maybe that's a good pointer which should be looked at. My bad, I didn't look at it in terms of like need to be figured out if this is one time or if this is something which is more of a structured play in terms of like how it is coming, because I think they have a short-term investment of 20 CR. Maybe that can be leading to some of the gains. Maybe that is the reason, but again, we'll have to find out what that is and what that is leading to. That's a good pointer. Maybe we'll have to check that. Anything else, Rohit, that you have to add?
No, nothing else. I think just this. I think this is important to understand the actual P multiple.
अभी मैं जा रहा हूँ यार 20 पॉइंटर वो देखना पड़ेगा नंबर 20 का अदर इनकम. हाँ, सो अदर इनकम इज कमिंग फ्रॉम वो प्रॉफिट ऑन सेल ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. तो भाई ये तो बढ़िया शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं, सेल कर रहे हैं, बढ़िया. और उस पे सो 5 CR इज फ्रॉम सेल ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स एंड 10 CR दिस ईयर इज फ्रॉम सेल ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स.
Yes. So that's the question. What is it? That's the profit.
There's one video out there with SME Mitra. I'll have to see that in order to calculate. I didn't see it yet, so I will look at it and then come back. But other than that, also the company seems decently valued, at least to me, at a very high level. With that, maybe we can now move forward and talk about the fourth company, right? Let's move forward to the fourth company, which is Rikshav Securities. So just setting up the company for Rohit. The company, Just give me 1 minute. Let me open Rikhav. Yeah. So the company is a financial services company in India that offers brokerage, investing, and banking services. It is registered with SEBI as a stockbroker and holds membership with BSE, NSE, and MCX. It also acts as a market maker in multiple SMEs. In terms of the IPO, the company is coming up with an IPO of 89 crores, out of which 71 CR is the fresh issue. The market cap is 329 crores. So they are diluting like 25% of the company. 89 crores, 71 crores fresh, 18 crores OFS. In terms of the FY24 financials, the revenue for the company was 111 crores and PAT was 42 crores. So a lot of it was able to convert into PAT, like a very high PAT margin sort of a company. We'll know why when Rohit talks about it. But in terms of the LM is Smart Horizon. So with that, maybe Rohit, do you want to go ahead and talk about Rikshav Securities? And also slightly slowly if possible.
Yes, I'll speak slowly. Good. So I think you set up Rikshav Securities. So they basically are a financial services company. They were established in 95. They are a SEBI registered entity. They engage in the business of equity broking, investing, and trading activities. So in equity broking, they do the standard stuff, which is your cash delivery, intraday trading, futures, options, and so on. We probably, all of us who are listening to this call probably know them as a market maker, and maybe a slightly infamous market maker. Market makers help companies that come for IPO by providing liquidity, which is, I think the rule is for 3 years, the market maker is supposed to ensure that at least one lot trades, and they should at least be able to provide one buy or sell quote, two-way quote, to ensure that there is some trading in that stock. Now, I think many of us doubt if these market makers actually do their job fully. And I believe there has been some hangama on this also. But okay, let's leave that aside. They're also well known for often selling their market making position on day one, which is the reason why not everyone, when people used to have some trouble with Rikshav's IPOs. But anyway, let's leave that aside. They have done almost 66 companies ka market making mandates. So, they've been clearly reasonably successful at. Perhaps the thing that is the largest part of what they do is they are a prop trader. A prop trader is a proprietary trader, which means they take their own funds. This is not clients' funds. This is not, the funds of the clients who they provide broking for. It's their own money, which they invest and trade across cash and across FNO. That is really important because this, it ultimately determines how this company is going to get valued. On the broking side, if you look at it, it's a very small part of their business. About 7.5% of their revenue comes from broking. They have about 18,000 accounts across H&I retail. They also have a few products, a trading app, an app for dealers, for their own clients, and so on. But 90% of the revenue of this company, if I take FY24, is just from prop trading, which is, like I said, just them trading with their own money. Now, broking is 7% and market making, at least the fee that they get for being the market maker, is less than 1% of their revenue. Now, when it comes to prop trading, it is not clear how much of their revenue is them selling their market maker position. So typically market maker would have in SME IPOs would have 5% of the fundraise will be allocated to the market maker. They would acquire that position. They would have to pay for that position, whatever 5% at a certain cost. But whatever they sell it at is their profit at the end of the day. So I'm not sure how much of this trading revenue is them selling their market maker shares versus them buying any other company and then selling that company and sort of making a profit. So the reason this is important is because the market maker share profit is kind of built into their model, while the regular buying and selling is just cash at the end of the day. All of us can do it, right? All of us do buying and selling. That's not a business. That's not a business that you would value with a PE multiple. Like if I make a certain profit, I can't say that, okay, I will, my own market cap is now 20 times the PAT that I make. That doesn't make any sense. If you look at the numbers, their numbers are obviously really good. They've done about 90 crore revenue in H1. I think in all of FY24, they did like 105 crore. They've done 90 crore just in H1 with almost 50 crore PAT. On a trailing multiple, again, I don't believe multiple is the right view, but okay, let's just take it on a trailing multiple basis. The business is coming at around a 4.5 P, which on the face of it looks incredibly small. I'll just come to how to value this, but I'll just speak about one thing before I get there. They're raising their money, the IPO, to expand their broking biz. So they actually generate a lot of cash. But they are trying to scale that 7.5% revenue, which is the broking revenue, is what they want to scale. So they're raising this money mainly for working capital because they want to give the clients that they have a margin trading facility. Margin trading is essentially today, if you want to buy shares, you either have all the cash upfront with you, or you can have some cash and the rest of the cash will be funded by the broker, and he'll charge it's a loan. It's like a loan against which you're buying shares, and he'll charge an interest rate against it. Apart from this margin facility, which is generally considered a very good source of revenue for brokers, they also want to expand their services and their general broking and distribution business. Personally, I'm not super bullish on that. I think small brokers have a place for clients who have handholding, but I don't think that's a very scalable business. It's a good small business that will keep growing. And I'm saying this because there is history in the family of, people who have had broking firms, and eventually that kind of turns into a prop desk only, which is proprietary trading. So how do you value such a company? 90% is proprietary trading. Even if I give it a PE multiple, there are a bunch of publicly traded prop trading companies in some way or form. I'll name a few. There's Elixir Capital, there's SMC Global, there's this Algotech company called Dolat Algotech, which actually came with which actually earlier this year had a lot of hype. There's a really small company called TCFC Finance. These are all primarily prop trading, which is their own money they trade. Every one of them trades at between 6.5 to 7 P. So I don't know, market has just decided that is the number to give. This is fundamentally a very volatile, very market dependent, not inherently scalable model. Share India is another peer, which is a Mainboard peer, but there only 50% of their business is prop trading. 50% is all these other things like, IPOs and, broking and so on. So they're not as, dependent on this prop trading biz, and they trade at around a 14 P. So to me, the market cap of a prop trading firm is just the sum total of the market cap of the securities that they hold, the shares that they hold, and the cash that they have. So PAT multiples, in my view, are not relevant. But even if you take it, you say 6.5, 7 P for the prop trading business. The broking business is small. It will get slightly better multiples due to scalability. But that, I'd say, because it's still only 6-7% of the business, you can't really give it doesn't have a lot of weightage to what they do today. So companies are coming at 4.5 times on trading business. Even if I give it 7 P, there's still 50-60% upside. Beyond that, whether the market will just say, oh, such a cheap company, I don't know. There was this other company, I'm just thinking, Petrocarbon, PCCL, completely different segment, came at a very, very low multiple, 6, 7, 8 P. Didn't go anywhere. And finally in H2, just sort of tanked. Even here, H2 might not be that great for somebody like Rikhav because the market is so dependent on the market, and if the market has fallen down the 15% now, they're also not going to do that well. So I think short term, it's a must apply. I think there is enough, whatever it is left on the table, even if you value it as a prop trader, it is clearly a prop trader plus. So it can get slightly better multiples than that, can get maybe 8, 9 P. Maybe not yet Share India because of the scale of revenue between prop trading versus the other sort of real business. But yeah, beyond the point, this is not a company that I would chase. There may be some short-term fancy for this company. But this is my view. Whatever prop traders I've seen, they all trade at the same multiple. So I don't see why this should get too much more. Some premium for being slightly better, more diversified than a prop trader.
Got it. Thanks, Rohit, for your review. A question, very high-level question. Do you know what is the cash it holds and how much is the securities on its balance sheet, like short-term investments, long-term investments, something like that?
I don't remember the numbers of the top of my head. I'll have a look. I think they had about 110 crore of investments. That's what I remember. Cash, I am not 100% sure. Let's see.
Okay.
It's a very complex balance sheet.
Got it. Because you were saying, right, that is how you would value it, right?
Yeah, it's not, I don't know the market value of those securities. I don't think they put the market value, or if they've updated the market value of those securities today. It's very hard to tell. It's hard to say.
Got it. So you're saying that you'll probably look at it from listing, but will not chase it at listing price.
Yeah, if this lists at 90%, this would be, in my view, at 90%, it would be absolutely fully priced in and more. If it lists very weak for whatever reason, then yes, there is definitely upside. 50-60% is where it gets safe, because that's where prop traders trade at. You can give it some premium, but it definitely cannot go beyond 13-14p, which is what, say, Share India trades at, while being 50% prop trading, 50% other revenue. So it's going to fall between 7p and 14p. Now, how far between 7 and 14? For me, factor of safety is at 7. Then maybe it can go to 8, 9, 10 maybe, but not far beyond that, because it's 90-10, whereas Share India is 50-50. So it'd be closer to 7, 8p is my sense. This is the best that I could, at least for me, this is what gives me that factor of safety. Eventually, you have to finally look at what the screen tells you and how much interest there is and who's entering and who's exiting and all of that. But with the information that I have, this is how I would personally value it.
Got it. That's helpful. With that, maybe Tanmay, do you have anything to add on Rikshav Securities, or we can move forward because we are running slightly short on time?
No, I have nothing major to add.
Perfect. With that, let's talk about one last company, which is Laxmi Dental. In the meanwhile, if you have joined us for the first time and want to listen to any of the IPOs which we have already covered, you can go to the YouTube channel which is pinned in pinned comments. आप उसको subscribe कर सकते हैं. And if you have any questions with respect to the issues, definitely post the questions as well. Just setting up Laxmi Dental, the company is an integrated dental products company. It offers custom crowns, bridges, branded dental items like clear aligners, thermoforming sheets, etc. Under the brand name Tagless. Just setting up the IPO, it's a 698 crore IPO, out of which 138 crores is a fresh issue, and remaining 560 crores is a OFS. So company promoters are taking an exit. The company is coming at a market cap of 2350 crores. Post money, 2350 crore pe, 700 CR they are diluting. 138 crore fresh, remaining OFS. In terms of the financials, the company did 195 crores of revenue in FY24 and a PAT of 25 crores. So at least at a PE level, it's very heavily priced, like it's at 90-95 PE. We'll talk about how do you look at it, how do you value this company. But in terms of the LMs, the LM are Nuvama, Motilal Oswal and SBI Capital. So with that, Tanmay, do you want to go ahead and talk about Laxmi Dental?
Is my voice audible?
Yes.
So Laxmi Dental Limited is an end-to-end integrated dental products company. Okay. So this company has three main segments. The first segment is laboratory offerings. In this segment, the company makes or manufactures custom-made crowns, bridges, implants, removable prostheses, and veneers. So these are basically the ancillaries which are attached to the tooth post the dental offerings which are provided by a dentist, like that caps, aligners, bridges. So who have went into that segment would know that very well. The second one is aligner solutions. So this company manufactures clear thermoforming sheets and 3D printing resins.
Let's just wait for Tanmay to come back.
सर मेरा आवाज आ रहा है क्या?
हाँ जी.
मेरा फोन आ गया था. हाँ. And the third segment in which Laxmi Dental operates is the pediatric dental products. In this segment, they offer the crowns for pediatric segment. So this company has a network of 22,000 dental clinics, and this company operates in B2B2C model. Matlab basically what this company does, this company offers custom-made solutions to the dental chains and the dental clinics. Now there's a difference between this. Now let's say there's a dental chain, take an example, Clove Dental. It's India's second or I guess largest dental chain who has hundreds of dental clinics. I'm not saying that Clove is the client of this company. I'm just telling the example of a dental chain. So this Clove Dental has hundreds of dental chains in its portfolio. So the company Laxmi Dental will provide custom-made solutions for the chain as a whole and not to the customer. If there's a specific requirement, that also the company is able to do. So this company provides custom-made solutions to the dentist and the dental chains, and then the chains provide it to customers. So this is B2B2C model. Okay. So this company is raising 698 crores, almost 700 crores only, out of which just 38 crore is a primary raise, and rest 560 crores is an OFS. From that 138 crores, the company will incur almost 68.5 crores capex, which will be put in its parent entity and the subsidiary Bizident. And from this capex, they will be purchasing machinery and expanding its existing manufacturing facility. Now, how much revenue it can generate and what is the asset, and that I'll cover at a later point. The company is also repaying the debt, which is due to 27.6 crores. And the rest 42 crores is for GCP, okay, general corporate purposes. Now, from this 560 crores, I guess 60 to 70% is been done by its private equity firm OrbiMed. OrbiMed had invested in 2015 and they are exiting more than half or a bit more than half at almost 11 times. They acquired at 26 rupees per share. मतलब roughly 18 times का return निकाल के जा रहे हैं वो 10 साल में 18 times. I'll just recall that last two IPOs in which OrbiMed was a private equity there was IPO 6 months back, Entro Healthcare, which was listed at par 00, not a single rupees premium or discount, and एक time पे 15% नीचे भी था IPO price. And the second one was the very recent IPO of Suraksha Diagnostic, which listed in 1.5% discount and now roughly 10-15% below IPO price. Okay. Now I'll come on its asset turn. ये जो capex कर रहे हैं उसके ऊपर कितना revenue generate कर सकते हैं. So when the company was asked कि आप इतने capex पे कितना revenue generate कर सकते हो या फिर आपका क्या potential है, तो promoters in 3 different interviews never told the number, but थोड़ा घुमा फिरा के बातें करी उन्होंने. But in one interview said that our asset turn is roughly 5 times, and जो दिख रहा है financials मतलब जो इन्होंने provide करा डेटा तो 4.5 times से करीब का asset turn है. So if I use that number and 68 crore का मैं round figure 70 crores कर लूँ और 4.5 times कर लूँ, so this company is talking of a revenue potential of 300 crores. Which is significantly higher than its FY24. FY24 they did almost 195 to 200 crores revenue. 300 crore का इनका potential और बढ़ जाएगा. And इनका capacity utilization कितना है वो मैं बाद में बताता हूँ. Okay. And now we'll come on its financials. In FY23 the company delivered a top line of 164 crores, in which the company incurred a net loss of roughly 4 crores. Okay, net loss में थी company, and इनका EBITDA था, EBITDA margin was roughly 6%. In FY24, the revenue jumped by roughly 15 to 20%, and the revenue came at 195 crores, and PAT was at 25.2 crores. Okay. Sharp jump in the PAT. In the H1, the company has done a revenue of 118 crores with a PAT of 22.7 crores. I'll add one thing in this. From this 22.7 crores, there's an exceptional gain of 5.5 crore which was done from the sale of investments, which was a property in Andheri, Mumbai. तो वो बेच के इन्होंने 5.5 crores बढ़ाए. So we will just consider this rest 5.5 crore at 1p only, because that's non-recurring nature and उसका कोई valuation कभी किसी को मिलता नहीं है. Now I'll come to its market cap. So this company is valued at 2,350 crores. If I just take out the EBITDA of FY24, it's just 33 crores. Matlab it's coming at 71 times FY24 EBITDA multiple, and PAT was 25 crores. So roughly 94 के PE पे FY24 पे आ रहा है. Now I'll do just take its FY25 numbers, which will be based on some assumptions. 118 they have done in H1. My personal estimate is coming कि FY25 में roughly 240-250 crores करेंगे, which is 55-45 split, 45 in H1, 55% in H2. तो इनका revenue आता है करीब 240-250 करोड़ के भी, जिसमें इनका PAT आना चाहिए 40 crores. Actually इनका 45 crores आएगा, but I have discounted at 5.5 crores gain from investment. Now if I consider these numbers, FY24 के EBITDA मल्टीपल पे 42-43 टाइम्स आ रहा है, ओके, और पैट मल्टीपल पे 55 टाइम्स काइंड ऑफ आ रहा है, मतलब 55 टाइम्स FY25, मतलब करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर 55 टाइम्स. Now I'll just project its FY26 numbers. तो उसका नंबर आ रहा है कुछ 300 to 315 crores, which is roughly a 22-24% kind of a growth, which is very decent. इनका पैट आ रहा है करीब 55 से 60 करोड़. If I consider the higher band of it, 60 crores आता है roughly 39 times. मतलब 39 times FY26 पे ये कंपनी आ रहा है, which is expensive. नाउ विल कम एक और चीज, प्राइस टू बुक भी देख लेते हैं. आई नो कि ये बिजनेस में प्राइस टू बुक नहीं लगता है, स्टिल आई जस्ट टेल कि कितना आ रहा है. तो इधर H1 का NAV वाज रफली 13 रुपीज 12.97, तो उसके हिसाब से 33 टाइम्स पीबी रेशियो पे आ रहा है. नाउ इफ आई जस्ट ऐड द न्यू इक्विटी दैट विल कम डाउन टू रफली 12 और 13 टाइम्स, बिकॉज इनका एग्जिस्टिंग इक्विटी बहुत कम है. तो ये सारा नंबर है. Now there's a major red flag in this company. I'll just read out what's taken from the RHP. Okay, the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) had passed a case against the promoter, chairperson and whole-time director Rajesh Kakkar. So who is Rajesh Kakkar? जो हर इंटरव्यूज में जो आपके दूसरे प्रमोटर थे, he was Rajesh Kakkar. के हर इंटरव्यू में he is there, Zee Business Beat, NDTV Beat, CNBC, हर जगह पे वो थे. And the case is happening in Patiala High Court for allegedly indulging in corruption and illegal activities to obtain confidential and classified information pertaining to an application for approving FDI for the Laxmi Dental. मतलब what is this case? तो लक्ष्मी डेंटल ने कुछ अर्जी दी होगी कि वी वांट टू इन्वेस्ट इन सम अदर कंट्री. मतलब ये जो आगे का इंटरप्रिटेशन है वो मेरा पर्सनल इंटरप्रिटेशन, इट कैन बी रॉन्ग. तो दे हैड put an application for foreign direct investment and to get confidential information they had, and उसका आगे का भी और एक पार्ट है. So there was a firm called Sterling Associates, वहां के एक सर थे रमाकांत किनी करके, who was engaged in providing legal services for obtaining legal documents and accused for illegally obtaining and pilfering the copies of confidential and restricted documents. मतलब वो FDI उनके कंपनी के डॉक्यूमेंट्स आगे करने के लिए illegally they had did the processes via a firm, I guess it's a law firm only, to get those documents. And इसमें इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट ये है कि इनका जो कोर्ट का हियरिंग है वो 23 जनवरी है, दिस जनवरी. 20th को लिस्टिंग है, 23rd को हियरिंग है इन दी पटियाला कोर्ट. सो वी डोंट नो कि क्या होने वाला है और इसका कोई अमाउंट दिया नहीं, बट ये केस सीबीआई का है, तो I guess it should be considered very serious. At least I consider the litigations very serious. 23rd Jan को है, मतलब लिस्टिंग के बाद से 3 दिन बाद, 3 वर्किंग डेज. सो that's an inherent risk in this company. Now अभी एक चीज मुझे और इसमें पसंद नहीं आई कि इन्होंने अपना peer comparison दिखाया है Polymedicure. Okay. Now in one of their interview in NDTV Profit, Mr. Sajid Mangat had asked कि आपका मार्जिन कहां तक जा सकता है. Okay. So the promoter replied कि some of our listed peers do a margin of around 25% and upwards of 25%. मतलब इनको जब अपना मार्जिन प्रोफाइल बताना है, they are okay considering a listed peer which was not shown in the RHP. मतलब एक कंपनी है 700-800 करोड़ मार्केट कैप का, प्रेवेस्ट डेनप्रो लिमिटेड करके. नाउ देयर इज अ कंट्रोवर्सी कि यार प्रेवेस्ट डेनप्रो और इनका ऑफरिंग्स में डिफरेंस है. अभी प्रेवेस्ट डेनप्रो इज बेसिकली इनटू दैट in a different segment, but उनका एक अच्छा 20 to 30%, I guess 30-35% revenue comes from the laboratory offerings, which is almost apple to apple comparable to Laxmi Dental. Now one will say क्या 20-30% ही है, but then I'll say to them कि Polymedicure का dental offering is just 1.5% of their revenue, और वो भी अलग सेगमेंट है. तो Polymedicure बिल्कुल भी इसका कंपेरेबल पीयर नहीं है. Polymedicure is an extremely reputed company which is growing at 25-30% CAGR from last 10 years. 2017 में इनका लिस्टिंग था, वहां से बहुत अच्छा वेल्थ बना के दिया. एक्सट्रीमली क्रेडिबल कंपनी दैट ट्रेड्स एट दैट 90p और फॉरवर्ड पे कुछ 60 टाइम्स पे है. तो यू कैनॉट कंपेयर दिस कंपनी विद इट. और इनका जो लिस्टेड पीयर है, मतलब प्रमोटर इनडायरेक्टली टोल्ड कि वो हमारा पीयर है प्रेवेस्ट डेनप्रो, दैट्स ऑपरेटिंग एट अ 36% ओपीएम और उनका 15 करोड़ का पैट है, जस्ट एट अ रेवेन्यू ऑफ आई गेस 55 करोड़ काइंड ऑफ. तो वो चल रहा है एक रफली 40 के पी पे ऑन FY24 और फॉरवर्ड पे दैट्स कंपनी ट्रेडिंग एट रफली 30-35 टाइम्स. ओके. अभी इनका वैल्यूएशन पे आता हूं मैं। तो ये जो बिजनेस है ना, हाई ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसीज का है। नाउ वन विल से यार इनका बहुत बड़ा केपेक्स आ रहा है। नाउ इफ आई जस्ट चेक की इनका 2 साल में केपेक्स कंप्लीट हो जाएगा और उसके 1 से 1.5 साल बाद ये कंप्लीटली, आई एम टेकिंग द बेस्ट केस कि 100% यूटिलाइज कर देंगे, बट ये होता नहीं है इंडस्ट्री में, 80-85% ही होता है यूटिलाइजेशन। इफ आई कंसिडर दोज नंबर्स, द कंपनी कैन डिलीवर अ रेवेन्यू ऑफ 450 करोड़, ओके, एंड दैट शुड बी इन FY28। और उस पे इनका पैट मार्जिन आ सकता है रफली 18%। मतलब पैट मार्जिन इनका आ सकता है एक काइंड ऑफ 80-85 करोड़। Now, even if I consider the best of best cases, the company is coming at a PE of 30 times FY28. मतलब 2028 की अर्निंग पे 28 से 30 का मल्टीपल, मतलब नॉट एट ऑल अट्रैक्टिव मल्टीपल फॉर पब्लिक इन्वेस्टर्स। एंड द पी फंड हैज ऑल्सो ग्रीडीली, आपने देखा होगा इनके पहले के भी 2 IPOs बहुत ही ज्यादा ग्रीडीली प्राइस थे। सुरक्षा डायग्नोस्टिक केम एट 100 PE, एंट्रो वाज अ लॉस मेकिंग कंपनी बट स्टिल ट्रेडिंग कंपनी था, मतलब इट्स अ गुड कंपनी, बट इट वाज फार्मास्यूटिकल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी विच वाज ऑलमोस्ट एट 1.3 टाइम्स रेवेन्यू टू सेल्स टू मार्केट कैप। तो आई फील दैट वैल्यूएशंस आर एक्सट्रीमली स्ट्रेच्ड। इन्होंने यहां से मतलब 20% तो भी एटलीस्ट IPO प्राइस से नीचे लाना चाहिए था। एंड द सेकंड लार्जेस्ट पॉइंट फॉर मी इज दिस केस, जिनका हियरिंग 23rd को होने वाला है, 23rd of Jan, मतलब यार बहुत पास में हियरिंग। सो वी कैन नॉट, पब्लिक इन्वेस्टर्स कैन नॉट टेक रिस्क इन इट। सो मेरा इस पर डिसीजन बहुत सिंपल है, it's a good bet for long term. See, the dental segment is facing good tailwinds. This industry is growing at a very good scale. I guess 12% CAGR से growth कर रहा है, and this company might do 20% kind of a growth, and highly unorganized market, so they have good headroom for growth. I'll just tell उनका capacity utilization का एक point रहेगा. So they at blended level of all 3 or 4 segments, because उनका 4 segment भी other करके है, वहां पे 15% utilization, but वो बहुत छोटा segment है। अगर मैं ब्लेंडेड लेवल पे बोलूं तो दे आर ऑपरेटिंग एट रफली 75 to 80%। मतलब ये इंडस्ट्री आइडियली 85% के ऊपर नहीं जाता है, जो मतलब इसमें जाता लिस्टेड पीयर्स नहीं है, बट व्हाट इज एज पर माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड फ्यू रीड्स ऑन सम आर्टिकल्स एंड सम रिपोर्ट्स 85% तक ये जा सकते हैं। सो फर्स्ट, और एक चीज ये भी है कि जो ये नया प्लांट और जो भी करेंगे, इनका जो डिप्रिसिएशन कॉस्ट है ये इनको थोड़े टाइम के लिए इनके पैट पे हिट करेगा, बिकॉज आपका डिप्रिसिएशन कॉस्ट बढ़ जाएगा। बिड्डा लेवल पे कुछ नहीं होगा, बट पैट मार्जिन में डिफरेंस आएगा। कैश विल नॉट गो, बट आपका पैट कम दिखेगा। तो I feel कि the valuations are actually stretched. So I feel कि those who can take risks can apply for very small kind of a limited listing gains. What I'm saying limited मतलब I feel 10-15%, 20% should be the upper cap, and for long term I'm a bit on a bullish side, but after hearing that 23rd January वो क्या होता है, because see ये कोर्ट का मामला है यार, वो भी CBI का मामला है, तो I feel पब्लिक इन्वेस्टर्स ने अपना दिमाग नहीं लगाना चाहिए, बिकॉज आपका दिमाग का रीच उतना नहीं है। तो यू शुड स्टे सेफ एज पर माई पर्सनल ओपिनियन। सो गुड फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म, बट फॉर लिस्टिंग गेन्स आई एम नॉट 100% कॉन्फिडेंट कि लिस्टिंग पे दे पाएगा। एंड यू नो मार्केट का मूड माहौल भी अच्छा नहीं है। स्टैंडर्ड क्लास इतनी अच्छी कंपनी, इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग सब कुछ होने के बावजूद भी आपने आज की लिस्टिंग देख ली है, जो एक टाइम पे 70% एंटिसिपेटेड थी। सो गुड कंपनी, फ्यू रेड फ्लैग्स, stretchy valuations and bad track record, profits, private equity fund, but healthy future prospects.
Got it. Very nicely summarized. Anything on the anchor book which you found? I saw a lot of mutual funds taking stake in it. Maybe they are in it for the long term, and that helps in any way.
Sir, mutual funds were actually quite normal only, and I actually don't want to go in that direction, but few funds at last moments didn't invested in this company. So एक चीज ये साइड पे है। तो डिसेंट एंकर बुक था। अबू धाबी वॉज अ गुड नेम, बट यार आजकल अबू धाबी बहुत जगह पे मिल जाता है, सो उतना वो हाइप 2023 वाला नहीं बचा है एडीआई का इन्वेस्टमेंट का। एंकर बुक वॉज आई गेस 6.5 आउट ऑफ 10 काइंड ऑफ एंकर बुक। अच्छी एंकर बुक थी, बुरी बिल्कुल नहीं थी, बट जस्ट थिंक 600-700 करोड़ का IPO है, 75% QIP है, तो आपका एंकर बुक भी अच्छा होगा। ऑलमोस्ट पकड़ के चलिए 250 करोड़ का एंकर बुक है, तो 250 करोड़ पे एंकर बुक में तो आपको अच्छे ना मिलने ही वाले। सो नॉट अ बिग सरप्राइज, बट डिसेंट एंकर बुक था, बुरा नहीं था, अच्छा भी बहुत अच्छा भी नहीं था, ठीक ठाक एंकर बुक था।
Got it. Very quickly, well covered company per se. So if you are applying, definitely have a longish term of view on Laxmi Dental. Not sure where it will get listed, but yeah, let's see. With that, Rohit, do you have anything to add, or we can probably just wrap up the space? It's been long.
No, man, nothing to add.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We will see you again next week. We have covered the IPS for this week.
Sir, I'll add one point. See, as I've seen a lot of retailers applying the IPOs based on GMP, और जो आज का सब्सक्रिप्शन फिगर दिख रहा है इस पे क्लियरली दिख रहा है कि people are just seeing the GMP and applying. यार मतलब आपने डेविंसन्स देख लिया, आज का स्टैंडर्ड ग्लास देख लिया, पिछले हफ्ते के आपने 2 इश्यूज देख चुके, बट लोगों का यार मतलब अकल नहीं आ रही है. सो I feel people should just study the fundamentals and then apply. 2 पैसे कम बने तो चलेगा, but you get a peaceful sleep. So people should look at the fundamentals. यार थोड़ा सा पढ़ लीजिए, थोड़ा सा देख लीजिए, ज्यादा नहीं, थोड़ा सा रिसर्च कीजिए, फिर अप्लाई कीजिए. सो नहीं तो एक आधे आईपीओ में जो फंसेंगे ना लोग, तो करारो में हुआ था, वी सेट किए ना मत लगाइए, बट दे डिडंट लिसन एंड नाउ एवरीवन नोस गॉड हैव रीप्ड देयर रिवॉर्ड्स. सो बी अवेयर और थोड़ा सा ड्यू डिलिजेंस करके इन्वेस्ट कीजिए.
Yep, goes without saying. With that, maybe we'll end today's space. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Bye.
Thank you.